Okay, guys, so we're going to start our next story in our open court books, so make sure you have your open court reading. The next story we're going to read, just turned to it, it's called The Hole in the Dike by Norma Green. It's a great story. It's on page 160 and 161. And guess what? I am not going to read this to you. I found a video of a teacher. Her name is Miss E. And I'm sure you're pretty sick of my voice right now. So I'm going to have her read this story to you. And it's on page 160 and 161. So go grab your book and follow along.
The Hole in the Dike by Norma Green, pictures by Eric Carl. A long time ago, a boy named Peter lived in Holland. He lived with his mother and father in a cottage next to a tulip field. Peter loved to look at the old windmills turning slowly. He loved to look at the sea. In Holland, the land is very low and the sea is very high. The land is kept safe and dry by high, strong walls called dikes. One day, Peter went to visit a friend who lived by the seaside. As he started for home, he saw that the sun was setting and the sky was growing dark. "I must hurry or I'll be late for supper," said Peter. "Take the shortcut along the top of the dike," his friend said. They waved goodbye. Peter wheeled his bike to the road on top of the dike. It had rained for several days and the water looked higher than usual. Peter thought, "It's lucky that the dikes are high and strong. Without these dikes, the land would be flooded and everything would be washed away." Suddenly, he heard a soft, gurgling noise. He saw a small stream of water trickling through a hole in the dike. Peter got off his bike to see what was wrong. He couldn't believe his eyes. There, in the big, strong dike, was a leak. Peter slid down to the bottom of the dike. He put his finger in the hole to keep the water from coming through. He looked around for help, but he could not see anyone on the road. He shouted. Maybe someone in the nearby field would hear him, he thought. Only his echo answered. Everyone had gone home. See, there's Peter. Peter knew that if he left the water leak through the hole in the dike, the hole would get bigger and bigger. Then the sea would come gushing through. The fields and the houses and the windmills would all be flooded. Peter looked around for something to plug up the leak so he could get to the village for help. He put a stone in the hole, then a stick. But the stone and the stick were quickly washed away. Oh no, what's he going to do? Peter had to stay there alone. He had to use all his strength to keep the water out. From time to time he called for help, but no one heard him. All night long, Peter kept his finger in the dike. His finger grew cold and numb. He wanted to sleep, but he couldn't give up. There he is. At last, early in the morning, Peter heard a welcome sound. Someone was coming. It was the milk cart rumbling down the road. Peter shouted for help. The milkman was surprised to hear someone near the road so early in the morning. He stopped and looked around. "Help!" Peter shouted. "Here I am at the bottom of the dike. There's a leak. Help! Help!" The man saw Peter and hurried down to him. Peter showed him the leak and the little stream of water coming through. Peter asked the milkman to hurry to the village. "Tell the people, ask them to send some help to repair it right away." The milkman went as fast as he could. Peter had to stay with his finger like that. last the men from the village came. They set to work to repair the leak. All the people thanked Peter. They carried him on their shoulders, shouting, "Make way for the hero of Holland, the brave boy who saved our land." But Peter didn't think of himself as a hero. He'd done what he thought was right. He was glad that he could do something for the country that he loved so much. So what do you think?
Okay, guys, so she did such a great job reading that story. So your job is to read it at least a few more times, and then when you are ready, you can go ahead and do your assessment. Of course, you can use your book on the assessment, but you have until Friday to finish this assessment. Also, since it is open court time, your job is to also grab your spelling connections and work on the next unit. And like I told you last week, just work on a few pages each day. So by the end of the week, you will be finished with your unit. Okay, if you have any questions, please let me know.